From Delaware's most award-winning radio news team, this is WDEL Video News. Here's Melanie Armstrong.
Among Delaware's top stories for Wednesday, May 9th, in their sights, Dover Air Force Base on the short list of targets by suspected terrorists, mapping out a long-term power plan for Delaware. And bombs away. Is it Happy Landing or Humpty Dumpty? Well, now the details. Dover Air Force Base was one of the sites being considered by 6 Muslim men now charged with plotting to attack Fort Dix. The indictment states the men decided against it because the base was too secure. That doesn't surprise Delaware's Homeland Security Chief David Mitchell.
If you read the criminal complaint, that one of the accused actually came to Dover, looked at the situation, gave an assessment, and thought this is too difficult.
Mitchell says while the state is small in population, it has a lot of infrastructure that could be possible targets. The Delaware Public Service Commission is calling for Delmarva Power to negotiate long-term power contracts. But as WDEL's Carl Konevsky reports, there are still some hurdles.
The Public Service Commission heard arguments as to whether Delmarva Power should be forced to pursue a deal with a third-party supplier. Last week, Delmarva officials said they wouldn't negotiate, but now President and CEO Tom Shaw says he liked some of what he heard, including the commissioners agreeing that all parties have to be flexible.
The initial interpretation is that we're not bound by the bids, and I was encouraged by that. Beyond that, I think until I have a chance to talk with our staff and thoroughly analyze what was done today, I don't want to comment further.
As required by law, the Department of Natural Resources, the Comptroller General's Office, and the Office of Management and Budget all have to agree with the proposal approved by the Public Service Commission. PSC members voted to force Delmarva Power to negotiate a contract with Blue Water Wind, a company proposing the construction of an offshore wind farm, but representatives of the 3 state agencies deferred their votes. While Delmarva officials say wind power has some benefits, they question its viability when the wind doesn't blow, something Blue Water Wind President Peter Mandelstam says isn't a worry.
Other utilities around the country and 60 million people worldwide get the equivalent of all of their electricity from wind power. There's never been an outage due to a wind farm in the world. 60 million people, 74,000 megawatts. There's never been a problem.
The commission also voted to have Delmarva negotiate with 2 other companies about the possibility of a natural gas backup to the wind farm. Reporting from Dover, I'm Carl Konevsky, 1150 AM, WDEL.
Voters in the Brandywine School District have elected the next board member. WDEL's Curtis Gray reports.
When the voting ended for the day, Trish Hearn came out on top, defeating Barbara Muhammad in the unofficial tally, 658 to 465 votes. Both candidates had campaign signs posted at polling places like this at Brandywine High School. With less than 1,200 voters taking part, Elaine Manlove, the administrator at the Board of Elections for Newcastle County, says such races typically produce low voter turnout.
There were only 1,124 voters. So it's a low voter turnout. It traditionally is so.
Hearn will serve a 5-year term on the Brandywine School Board, coming aboard in the midst of last month's failed referendum and district layoffs. In the Appoquinimink School District, Joanne Christen defeated Lee Streetman 191 to 32 votes. I'm Curtis Gray, 1150 AM, WDEL.
Still ahead, pomp and circumstance at the riverfront. WDEL News continues in a moment.
You could spend your money at the gas pump, or you could spend it on those sexy pumps at your favorite store. Let DART do the driving. Travel smart. Choose DART.
A developer is one step closer to building a new housing development in the Pike Creek area. WDEL's Ken Grant reports on the close vote.
The land near the corner of Paper Mill and Limestone Roads was zoned for single-unit homes, but a 7-6 vote by Newcastle County Council paved the way for 64 townhomes to be built on the land next to the Chestnut Valley development. County Council still has to approve the developer's final plans before construction can begin. Ken Grant, 1150 AM, WDEL.
What today is a sign of urban blight in Wilmington will tomorrow be townhouses and green space. WDEL's Peter MacArthur explains.
Rundown properties along 22nd and Lamont Streets are being torn down to make room for 8 townhomes. 4 other buildings are being demolished for a green space of about 5,000 square feet across the street.
Sometimes it takes a block, sometimes it takes several blocks, but after you start making the changes, then the place is great.
In all, 14 properties were turned over to Greater Brandywine Village Revitalization. Habitat for Humanity will build the townhouses, and the Delaware Center for Horticulture will handle the green space. I'm Peter MacArthur, 1150 AM, WDEL.
The Christina School District is setting up a fund to help the children of a bus driver who was killed on her bus last week. Co-workers created the fund in the memory of Elizabeth Ware to benefit her 3 children. Her former boyfriend, Jermise Ross of Newark, is charged with murder. A special night for Wilmington College graduates and their parents. WDEL's Curtis Gray reports.
More than 550 graduate students took part in the 36th annual commencement ceremonies at the Chase Center Tuesday night. Hundreds of families and friends were on hand to watch the spring commencement ceremony at the riverfront. Wednesday night is reserved for the undergraduates, expected to number about 500 at the Chase Center. The entire class of 07 consists of just over 2,000 students taking part in a total of 5 ceremonies this year. I'm Curtis Gray, 1150 AM, WDEL.
The eggs were flying, or at least trying to, in downtown Wilmington. WDEL's Lee St. John explains.
It's a very fine line between happy landings and bombs away. In what has become something of a rite of passage on the last day of school, first-year 3D design students at Delaware College of Art and Design in Wilmington launched their artistic vessels, each containing a raw egg, off the roof of the institution's Market Street headquarters on Tuesday. Designs were required to reflect one of the classic styles, Cubism or Impressionism to name a couple, and were judged for appearance before and functionality later. The idea, of course, land the fragile cargo intact, a task that eluded 90% of the competitors last year. This year's class fared somewhat better, a full 25% surviving the 5-story drop.
Donovan McNabb says he's shocked. What's he talking about? WDEL Sports and AccuWeather are coming up.
Looking to gain an edge in the technology or design field? Wilmington College's Division of Information Technology and Advanced Communications offers state-of-the-art facilities equipped with the latest tools. Achieve balance, achieve success.
In WDEL Sports, the long ball sent the Phillies to another 1-run defeat in Arizona. Tony Clark hit a 2-out blast in the 7th off starter Adam Eaton, and the Phillies lost to the Diamondbacks 3-2. Eric Burns hit a 473-foot home run for the D-backs in the 2nd inning, the second longest home run in the 10-year history of Chase Field. Chase Utley and Greg Dobbs hit home runs for the Phillies. The Phils will try to salvage the final game of the series tonight with Jamie Moyer on the mound against Randy Johnson. You can hear the game on WDEL starting at 6:05. Nick Markakis and Jay Gibbons hit home runs as the Orioles downed the Tampa Bay Devil Rays 8-3. Jeremy Guthrie won his second major game for the Orioles, giving up just 1 run in 6 innings of work. Game 2 of the series is tonight with Eric Bedard on the mound against James Shields. Left-hander Rowdy Hardy pitched the Blue Rocks to their 5th straight win, a 6-1 victory over the Lynchburg Hillcats. Hardy gave up 1 run and 5 hits in 7 innings of work. The Blue Rocks got to Todd Redmond, one of the Pirates' top pitching prospects, for 6 runs in 6 innings. The Blue Rocks will try to extend their winning streak tonight at Frawley Stadium at 6:35. Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb says the team's selection of quarterback Kevin Kolb in the 2nd round of the draft was shocking. McNabb made his first comment since the draft to a Philadelphia radio station. He downplayed the rumors that he was upset the Eagles took a quarterback they might want to groom as his successor. McNabb says his rehab from a torn knee ligament is going well, and he expects to play in the preseason. Kentucky Derby runner-up Hardspun is back at his stable at Delaware Park before preparing for next week's Preakness Stakes. WDEL's Sean Green reports.
Less than a week after a second-place finish in the Kentucky Derby, Hardspun and his trainer Larry Jones were back at its Delaware stable, looking back at the near miss.
He ran what should have been a winning race. It's hard to think a horse that was laying in 18th and 19th position could get the rail ground-saving trip that he got.
Next up for Hardspun is next week's Preakness at Pimlico.
We're coming to Pinot country now, and he's Maryland's all-time leading rider, and that's got to mean something. And if there's a pebble in the path, he ought to know where it is, and we ought to be able to avoid it.
Hardspun will hope to look down at the competition next Saturday. Reporting from Stanton, I'm Sean Green, 1150 AM, WDEL.
Your WDEL Delaware AccuWeather forecast. Fog and some clouds to start out, then some sun later, the high 78. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, the low 59. Clouds and sunshine tomorrow, the high 80. I'm Melanie Armstrong. Thanks for watching.